Salvete Spectatores, it's Masopust. Welcome back to Pillars of Eternity. We cleared out the rather difficult dungeon of the Temple of Eothas. Now let's check the map, what else we can do. We can do the road west, like out in. So we have checked out the temple here and the inn. Road south. We came from the north, I'm pretty sure. Orphra's house. There are a few other houses. Blackhammer Smithery, Ingroed's house, Windmill, and Road East. So let's first go to Orphra's house, just because she's in the vicinity. Wow, it's quite dark here actually. Do we have to get up there? I'm not sure. This is Orphra's house, right? This ale tastes funny to you? Alright. So they're just random guys. Villager. So there's not really much to loot or do anything. But Orphra seems to be a more important character. Clink, Slox the Usurper. So they are named characters. Let's check them out. As you near, you feel a vibrant history contained in the essence of this man's soul. Voices from its past seem to call out to you. You see a small group of people gathered around the ruins of a house. The destruction continues out from the single dwelling through the entire village. Not a single building still stands. Rubble is scattered everywhere. One of the men in the group leans over something in the debris. It is this man, younger, barely more than a boy. The man reaches out and shakes the boy by the shoulder. The boy makes no sound and doesn't respond to the man's disturbance. The man looks up at the other members of the group and shrugs, saying to rejoin his friends. The boy suddenly sits up, eyes wide. He scrabbles backward, away from the group, looking around in horror. The group moves toward him in unison, eliciting a yelp from the boy who tries to move farther away. A woman in the group puts out her hands, stopping the rest. She turns to them reproachfully, motions for them to stay, then looks at the boy on the ground, who is trying to push himself through what remains of a wall. He seems unaware he has even stopped. The woman slowly moves toward the boy, hands out, speaking in a slow, calming tone. For a time, the boy doesn't even hear. He just closes his eyes and braces himself against the wall, expecting violence. Eventually, the woman's words work through the fear and he hears her. He opens his tear-filled eyes and stares at her. She holds out a hand to him. He looks at it, seeming confused by the offer, then hesitantly reaches out. She takes his hand in hers and leans toward to help him stand. Okay. I wonder if this has any meaning whatsoever at some point in the game. I mean, they're named characters, but I cannot really interact with them. Let's check this guy. You see a lone man standing in a field. He looks around, surveying the crops. Occasionally, he bends to examine a leaf up close. He is intent on what he is doing, completely absorbed in his work. This man approaches him from behind. He moves slowly, but does nothing to mask his approach. In his hand, he holds a large sword. There appears to be no malice or hatred in the man's demeanor. He almost seems pleased. The first man hears his approach and stands, turning away from the plant he was inspecting. His face breaks into a smile and he opens his arms to welcome the approaching man. The smile freezes into a grimace as the second man thrusts the sword through his stomach, its blade now protruding from his back. His arms slowly fall to his side and blood starts to drip from the sword onto the plants below the man. As the first man crumbles to his knees, the second pulls the sword out, a tear slowly falling down the cheek of his still smiling face. What the hell, dude? But you got a cool helmet, so there's something. I mean, the stories are still interesting, even if they don't have anything to mean. Let's enter the house and check it out. Cat. Can I somehow interact with her? Nope. What is this symbol? Looting? The sworn dog-eared book is titled Travels Upon the Saltglass Sea. There is an etched illustration of a vast, finned leviathan. So let's talk to Ofra. Is this a woman or a man? I guess a woman. A dire-wooden woman is standing in front of the fireplace, humming a quiet tune to herself. Or perhaps her unborn child, for it's clearly quite pregnant. I thought pregnancy is a problem here in this Gilded Vale. She turns her head slightly as you enter.
How do you do?
Well, finally, I was starting to think. The woman makes a startled noise when she turns around and sees you. Oh, I'm sorry, I was expecting someone else. She gives you a cautious smile. Can I help you? Nice cat. Ofra smiles brightly. Oh, thank you. She's sweet. She's a sweetheart. Keeps the house clear of mice, too. I just arrived in Gilded Vale. I thought I'd get to know the locals. Were you thought of the caravans? She looks at you hopefully. Master Odemus, by chance? I was, yes. I'm afraid the rest of the caravan was killed. Ofra covers her mouth with a hand, eyes wide with horror. For a few moments she can manage nothing but a strangled, voiceless gasping, her eyes brimming with tears. Wait a sec, is she the sister of Kaliska? She mentioned something about pregnant sister, right? I think so. I knew. I told her it was a dangerous path to take. Aha, here we go. Kaliska was always so certain she could take on any danger. Ofra sniffs. Oh, my poor sister. I'm sorry, stranger. I can't believe she's gone. If only I hadn't called her here. If I hadn't written to her, she might still be alive somewhere. Ofra's face crumples, and a solitary tear slides down her cheek. Quit your sniveling. Why did you send for Kaliska? Kaliska mentioned that she thought you needed help. Perhaps I can provide some assistance. Ofra looks at you with some surprise before dabbing at her nose with her sleeve. That's kind of you to offer, but I don't know if I could impose this on you. It's not a small favor. Ofra wipes her eyes. I'm worried about the baby, about the legacy. I told Kaliska as much as I could, but all I know is that for a long time now, every child born in Gilded Vale has been soulless, empty. It's happened to so many mothers, and Lord Raedric, he's exiled all of them, calling it a sign of the gods' disfavor. She sniffs again. With my heart gone, I don't know how I managed if I lost my home too. I hoped Kaliska could help. They say Rania, an old midwife, knows a way to prevent a child being hollowborn. But she moved south to Anslug's Compass 2 seasons ago. The journey is too far for me. I can't make it as I am, but I don't have anyone else now, with Kaliska gone. More tears run down her face. Please, can you help me? What the hell does gold-packed knights mean? Okay, whatever. I can ask for money. I'll find Ragnar for you, why not? Ooh, you gain 20 copper. Ofra blinks, eyes wide. You will? Oh, gods bless you. Here, I'll give you coin to pay her with. You needn't trouble yourself with that. I think it's a drink she fastens out of... Well, I'm not sure, but it shouldn't be too much of a burden to carry back. Travel to Anslug's Compass and speak to Mother Ragnar. So let's check if we can loot anything in this house. I'm not sure if it's a good idea, but... Heh. Oh shit. You have lost reputation with Gilded Vale. Shit. I don't want to do that!
Gods keep you.
Okay, never steal again. Any chance you could tell me a few things about Gilded Vale? I can certainly try. What would you like to know? Tell me about a village. Let me think. We're farmers mostly, but there's always been work and opportunity for people coming in from elsewhere. In the old days at least, the Black Hammer Smithery's been here for a long time. That's Tuat Tanu's place, south of the mill. And there's the Blackhound Inn, just a way south of here. She sighs, trailing off. I have to admit, I don't go out much anymore. With that horrible tree out there, things aren't like they used to be, but I don't have elsewhere to go. Whose lands are these? The Raederick family has held title over these lands for generations. Their keep is northeast of here, part to easternward. She holds up a hand. I wouldn't go near, mind. He doesn't see visitors or petitioners, not these days. Some people say that, well, that there's some bad seeds in that line, a weaker soul, maybe that's why. She hesitates. Well, never mind. I'm sure Lord Raederick has his reasons. So, never steal again. That's to be expected, actually. That stealing is bad. So I don't think she personally minds, but the village doesn't like me for that. Okay, so here I came from. I want to go back at some point, but not until I've solved the problem with the... What was it? The steps. The steps I have to move up. World map. Ooh, okay. Kite Noir Madmr Bridge. Okay. So, road south. Let's check. I guess I want to go there, but it's just a random house. So are they coming? Yeah. If there's no special sign, I don't think I can do much. Still the corpses on the tree. Let's try it out. I don't want to loot anything, but... Yeah, that's looting. Okay, they are definitely named characters. Most of them look pretty cool. Just she has a weapon there. She's a mage, probably. Care Iloth. You see a crowded marketplace. Vendor stalls lining the road. The proprietor's voices calling out to passers-by to come sample their wares. This woman wanders through the throngs, strolling hand in hand with another woman. Interesting. They peruse the vendor's goods, tearing at a book merchant with a number of old and beautiful tomes, chatting with one another about what they see. One will pick up a book and show it to the other, who will take it, comment on it, and place it back on its shelf. And then the first will snatch up the book again, and quickly pay the merchant before the other can snatch it back. Heh. They walk away from the market, weighted down by packs filled with books, still hand in hand, standing close, comfortable and familiar with each other. As they pass down somewhat deserted street, an object suddenly hits this woman in the chest and bounces off, rolling away toward one of the buildings. The women stop and look at the object, an apple, and then back up the person who threw it. There's nothing special about him aside from an angry look on his face and the two other apples he holds. Before either woman can move, the man draws back and throws another one at them, this time hitting the second woman in the forehead. He yells at them, something derisive and hateful, something about a legacy and about responsibilities. The woman raises her hand to her head and wipes the juice and bits of fruit from her head and stares the man down defiantly. The first woman squeezes her hand and puts the other on her companion's shoulder, attempting to calm her down. The other woman pulls a book from a pack and holds it before her, muttering under her breath. She pulls her hand free and waves it above the book, an aura forming around her. The first woman is still trying to calm her down, but all she says goes unheard. The man, uncaring of the events happening in front of him, draws back and throws the last apple. As it arcs through the air toward them, the second woman brings up her hand and points at the apple. A glowing orb of energy flies from her hand and strikes the apple, causing it to explode, raining bits of apple down the road and buildings around them. The man's face changes, anger joined by fear, looking like he is trying to decide if running or attacking is the better course of action. The second woman has started chanting again, her hands glowing, her eyes narrowing. This woman steps in front of her, placing herself between her love and their attacker. She touches her face, gently stroking it while whispering calming words. A kiss. The woman's countenance changes. She calms, her eyes softening, her lips regaining a lost smile. The first woman smiles again, as well as and kisses the other. "Wizard scum," the man behind them says, and the two women turn to face him, staring him down defiantly. They join hands and begin walking again, moving past him without so much as a sideways glance. So this woman is the not so hot-headed one. This is the more angry woman. You see a key turned gently, steady, and hear a ghostly click as the door swings inward. Two figures slip in, locking the door behind them and begin their prowl. Their hunt is efficient, and it takes them little time to acquire a sizable collection of documents in oddly shaped velvet pouches. Quick hands fill pockets, rucksacks, bags. The door opens downstairs and everything freezes. Footsteps. A tight giggle. Thieves are all eye whites and short breath as they empty their pockets of all but the necessities. Anything noisy hurriedly replaced. Silence from downstairs. Then tentative steps up the staircase. A voice calls out. One thief creeps forward, the other gesticulating wildly for him to return. He continues forward, crouching by the banister. He sees a gaudy show and shoves. The woman falls with a cut-off scream, rolling lifelessly to the floor below. Okay. Swearing, the second thief grabs her brother. Okay, I guess this was the woman. And they make their escape, collecting whatever of value they can on their way out. So I'm not sure if she's a mage now. I don't think so. Okay, our definitely interesting stories here. I don't think it will have any sort of impact on the game. There is another hut up there. Two characters. I can't enter this hut though. We have here Doran Chamberlain. You see a large crowd gathered in the middle of a courtyard. This man stands in the midst of them, a cloak pulled over his head, holding it close around his neck. The crowd has congregated around the platform, and they all watch, transfixed, as the man is led to the platform, flanked by two city guardsmen. The man is shackled hand and foot, but carries himself as a nobleman, not deigning to even glance at the crowd. The cloaked man pulls his cover closer around his face and turns to leave, hunching over to avoid being seen. A crier on the platform unrolls a parchment and begins to read, but the man pays no attention, intent on getting away from the courtyard. The crier's voice grows louder and more intense as he reads, and voice from the crowd start to punctuate his sentences. The cheers and shouts grow more frequent, and with each one, the cloaked man flinches and his shoulders droop. He breaks from the crowd, coming to the edge of the courtyard as the crier reaches the end of his proclamation. The crowd grows silent again, save for the occasional shout. The man turns back to look at the platform, seeing his father kneeling before the block, neck exposed. The executioner moves into position, lifting his axe to strike. The man turns suddenly, unable to watch. There is a wet thunk, and the crowd breaks into cheers and applause. He leans against the wall, regaining his composure, then straightens up. With obvious resolve, he strides off, away from the crowd and his legacy. Huh. Ooh, is this one of the god-like or something? Because he has this strange... What is it, a helmet? Not sure. So what is this guy? Rudolfir Necatore. You see a pair of immaculately polished leather boots and an impeccably maintained goatee. The owner, a slightly hooked-nosed man with a wicked grin and narrow eyes. He bobs his feathered head at a nearby merchant as he ambles by, a small piece of parchment held tight in his fist, ink staining his fair fingers. He seems to know most of the merchants in the market, stopping to engage some, nodding at others, and even bartering for minor goods with a select few, always smiling, laughing, and exchanging jibes. He approaches a heavy-set Almoa, smile plastered stiff across his face, and jokes about the weather. She chokes back, subtly palming him several gold coins. When he walks away, the paper in his hand is gone, and the smile on the face far more genuine. He tips his cap at her, winking, and trundles off with a new spring in his step. He has a much cooler featherhead, Aloth here. So there's that. Alright. There is the Ingrod's house and the windmill. Let's check this house first. I can't loot this one without any repercussions. It was a rather, not boring, but a slow episode. So, I'm sorry for that. I guess I can loot this. The Dyewood Part 2, The Broken Stone Wall. So Part 1 you've already read. If you want to read it again, I read it off screen. This is a little bit shorter, but if I read everything out loud, this all takes too long. So I thank you all for reading and watching in this episode. And I just wanted to end, but here we have something that triggered from itself. Ingrid. This man and woman appear to have been deep in conversation, working at closing two bulging satchels. They move to embrace, until the woman notices your approach and pauses, her smile faltering a little.
Good day, stranger.
Can we help you? She looks at her companion, brows furrowing with confusion. Do you know this man, Nonton? Nonton coughs. Yes, I think we met in the Valewood. I warned him about the bear. He inclines his head. Glad to see you've made it. Was there something else you wanted? Is there anything you can tell me about Gilded Vale? Ingrid smiles wryly. Only that you'll want to be moving on as soon as you can. You'll have seen the tree, I imagine, but the root goes deeper. If you were looking for work, I'd say you have a better chance of it elsewhere. We're headed for Defiance Bay ourselves. Oh, Nonton added. Okay. You two seem to be in a hurry. Yes, I imagine so, Ingrid laughs. We're packing for a trip, actually. I've been meaning to visit Defiance Bay and... She looks at Nonton. Well, in truth, I think I've had my fill of this town. Nonton reaches to take her hand. It's time for some new scenery, he says. Goodbye. Interesting. So maybe I can talk to them only when I kill the bear? Ooh. I took the silver and they don't care. That's interesting. So, that's all for today. Thank you all for watching. I guess we go back and kill the bear and then talk to him again if anything can change. I will see you soon.